Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zillotech, and iOS 27 has hundreds of new features, changes, and updates, and in this video we're going to take a look at everything new with Messages or iMessage on iOS 27. Now the first thing is bug fixes and general improvements. Just like iOS 27 in general, Messages gets quite a few improvements and overall bug fixes. So the first thing is it has faster message loading. So when you go in and load a message, it seems to be much faster. Also, Messages seem to load larger conversations faster, and it also has faster syncing across multiple Apple devices. For example, if I send this, then I go over to the iPhone Air right here, you'll see it's already there. So the same conversation, the same thing is synced across devices, and it shows up immediately now. Also, failed messages now will automatically try and resend. So maybe you sent this message, it failed, it will try and resend on its own instead of having to tap resend on by yourself, or just tap the little error that shows up and say resend as SMS. It will also send if maybe you lose connectivity to whether that's cellular or Wi-Fi, maybe your Wi-Fi drops, or maybe you're just in an area without cellular data for a moment. Once it resumes connectivity, it will then try and resend that message for you. There's also a new sending animation. So if we send something that's a little bit larger, so we'll send this video file, you'll see here, and it has a new send status bar. So we'll give it just a moment here, and we'll see that start to send with a new bar there down at the bottom. So that's a new status indicator that's on individual messages instead of the entire iMessage update itself here at the top where it used to be. Now it's on individual messages. Now, if maybe you're trying to optimize your storage and save some space, and within photos, for example, some of your photos you want to optimize storage, offload some of those photos so they're not taking up as much space on your device. Once you do that, in previous updates, you would no longer see many of those thumbnails within messages. Now they'll actually show up with the thumbnails in the message, even if you've offloaded your media. So that's great that they've updated that. And also you can now search throughout your conversations using phone numbers. So if we go back here, if we go to search and maybe type in 980, it will then search messages starting with that area code. So whatever area code or phone number you put in, you can easily search throughout here with that, or even using a nickname. So Apple, for example, anytime Apple is mentioned, it will find that, or any nicknames throughout contacts like it's finding here with the Apple Computer. Now back within Messages, if we tap on the plus button here on the left, you'll see we have a new option here for drawing. So we can go into drawing, and this might hint at maybe future products, but we can draw here and just say hello, and then send that. You've got all of the same tools that you have in Apple Notes, and of course the same thing you have on an iPad that you could use your Apple Pencil with. So maybe we'll get something along those lines in the future, but again, you have all the different tools, the eraser and everything else. Go ahead and tap the check mark and then send that. And you can see it sends whatever you draw there. So that's a nice little addition that they've added in iOS 27. Now, if you're using RCS messaging with maybe an Android phone, they've updated this as well. So let me show you that. So I just sent myself a message from the S26 Ultra so we could test this back and forth. You'll see it says RCS message, for example, and it also shows that here whether it's encrypted or not. Now, if you press and hold, maybe on the message here, you can use replies directly in line. So I can say, hello, just reply that way, and it should show up properly on the Android phone. So you'll see here, it shows up as an inline reply on Android. This also works with replies using an emoji, maybe replying on something that's been sent to you, such as a photo or video. So if we press and hold, we can maybe give it a thumbs up. You'll see the thumbs up shows up here on the particular photo. And again, it shows up properly on the photo within Android. So these are just additions they've added that now work properly between Android and iOS using RCS. Messages understands context this time and can then suggest things based off of that context. For example, utilizing Apple Intelligence, if we go in, I sent myself some messages and I said, how about lunch at a steakhouse at 2 p.m. tomorrow? It's automatically giving me a one-tap suggestion to add it to the calendar. Again, the same thing. They're very vague. It just says, remember, we are going out on Saturday to watch a movie. And you'll see it's not even typed properly, and I can tap Add to Calendar. It will then open up Calendar and understand that it would be tomorrow and the time frame, maybe 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., which could be an average time for a lunch to take. So it understands context and then gives suggestions based off of those. So it can actually suggest reminders or add to notes as well as the calendar. Also, you'll see I sent myself a message here, and again, it says add to reminders and add to notes, and it says, can you send over the photos from the 4th of July, please? You'll see down here above the keyboard, it now is asking me to search for photos. It knows what I'm talking about as far as context, and then makes it easier to search for photos. It then auto-searched 4th of July. However, this isn't a 4th of July photo, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but maybe I took these photos last year on the 4th of July. So if we go here, we could then send those. And again, it helps you search for that and just make it a little bit easier. Also, this goes across to Genmoji as well. So maybe we wanted to generate Genmoji for 4th of July. We could press and hold or go back here. Let's try it one more time. Maybe slide over to Genmoji. It can suggest Genmoji based off the context of the actual message. Now, this doesn't seem to be working properly for me, where the keyboard won't go away, but maybe fireworks. And we've already got some here, so we don't need to generate it. But you'll see if I hit enter, it doesn't do anything. And if I hit the check mark, it doesn't do anything. So this doesn't seem to be working properly for me just yet. However, it does work for others. So again, if we go into Genmoji, 4th of July, it can suggest Genmoji that you may want to use. So just keep that in mind, but it does seem to be a little bit buggy, at least with the earlier betas. Also, when we maybe press and hold, we'll reply to this message for lunch. You'll see it now says write with Siri. So that's something new. We can write with Siri and use simpler words, it says, or how about lunch next week instead? And again, it's giving suggestions. So you'll see what it says there. Use simpler words. It's giving suggestions here for that. And let's see what it does. And then we've got all of our compose here, and it can rewrite it for us just like before. So it says I can rewrite things to make them easier to understand. Please tell me what you want to simplify and use simpler words and sentences. So again, this is something that's built in. You can use write with Siri, and it understands context a little bit better. So smart replies are now understanding the writing style you use when typing to provide those better smart replies. So how about next week we go to a steakhouse instead? So you'll see it's suggesting much of the things I'm already typing, and it understands the way I type and context as well. So those are things that are definitely helpful and get better over time as it understands context of all the different messages. Now, maybe you have a large group chat, and maybe there's multiple tapbacks coming in. People are liking things, pressing here, giving a thumbs up, giving exclamation points. That can get overwhelming in a giant group chat. This can now be consolidated within the messages. So if we go into a group chat, you'll see here where someone was able to actually make it to our 4th of July get together, and there's multiple emoji or reactions here. Tap on it, and then it tells you who actually sent those, but it consolidates those so it doesn't bombard you all with a ton of different replies in one place. So that's something they've updated with iOS 27. Siri also gets smarter in this update. For example, you can utilize Siri to find information within your messages. You can ask it to find messages, photos, videos, phone numbers, linked addresses, or anything else you've mentioned. So let's try it out. Can you find a picture of a BMW that was sent by Zach the other day?
I found a photo sent by Zach Zollo on July 1st, 2026 that appears to be the BMW you're looking for.
If we tap on it, it should open up, and you'll see, in fact, it is a BMW. So that's something that actually works like it should. And again, you can search for other things as well. Maybe an address that someone sent and you don't remember exactly where it came from. So let's try that as well. Could you tell me an address that was sent the other day for a 4th of July family get-together and who actually sent that address?
For the 4th.
So it actually found it, told me what the address is, who sent it, and when it was sent as well. So that's incredibly helpful. I didn't even have to give it specifics for it to find that. Let's try one more thing that's fairly complex as well. Send the last video I sent over to Aaron Zolo.
Ready to send it?
Sure, go ahead.
It's sent.
And then it sent. So it sent what it saw right here that it knew that I sent recently and sent it over to another contact. So you could do that with photos, videos, invites, and everything else. Also, with the little dictation icon here, you can now remove this or change it to something else. So if we go into our settings for messages, let's just use this shortcut here. I'll link in the description. And if we scroll down, You'll see here it says Show in Text field. If we tap on this, we have Record Audio, Start Dictation, or None. If we want to record audio, we can go in here. You'll see the icon changed. If I press and hold, now I'm recording audio, and then I can send this audio message to whoever I'm recording it for. So again, it works like that. Or maybe we want to change it to, again, Start Dictation. It changes the icon. Now we can just use dictation directly from here. Or if we go back, we can change it to none if you don't want to accidentally tap on it. Then it just goes away altogether. So it's up to you, however you want to set it up. If you don't want to use dictation or anything like that, I typically like to use voice dictation but not record audio, so I'll leave it on that setting. Now, if you have a child, or maybe you're managing someone's child, you're a guardian, something along those lines, and you have them added into your family account, there's some new controls here as well. If we have them added and then we go down to screen time, within the child account, if we go to communication safety, there's new options, or new blocks, I should say, for things such as gore and violence that may show up within messages. It will automatically detect that and then blur them out. Now, of course, they can view them with a password, or they can check with you whether or not it's worth viewing, but that's something that you can enable if you want to enable for your child, that it will automatically blur those things and prevent them from seeing them without your approval. So again, that's optional. You can turn it on if you'd like, or you can just leave it off altogether. And so those are the many features with messages in iOS 27. Some of those features could be limited depending on where you live in the world, as well as what device you're using. So some of the new Siri features, understanding context, are limited to Apple Intelligence devices, for example. But many of the features will be coming to all devices as well, such as RCS updates and much more. Let me know what your favorite feature of iMessage is, or messages in iOS 27, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.